One of the pieces that I've programmed for this project is two movements from Scheherazade by Rimsky-Korsakov, which is a piece based on the Arabian folktale of the 1001 Nights, whereby Sultan Shahryar executes each one of his wives after one night together, until he meets Sultana Scheherazade, who starts to tell him the most fantastical and imaginative stories, and he's seduced so much that after 1001 nights, he puts off her execution and lets her live. Now here is the score of Scheherazade. Oh, get it in the picture, there we are. That's the score of Scheherazade, but this on its own is no more the score, or no more the piece I should say, than this Jamie Oliver recipe book is the food that it tells you to make. In fact, if I try and eat this recipe book, it doesn't taste very good. Similarly, with this piece, this is just the list of ingredients needed in this book to tell you how to make this particular meal. And if we look at the beginning, I'll try and get this in shot. If we look in the beginning at this particular line, which is the cello line, which goes on and on and on for pages and pages and pages, looking like that. It looks a bit like wallpaper, or a study. And it sort of doesn't really look like anything. And of course there is, what is he written? Okay, learn the notes, fair enough. But then if we sort of know a little about the background maybe of the piece, that we know that the first movement of this piece is supposed to be the story of Sinbad the sailor in his ship, and that we know that Rimsky-Korsakov himself was absolutely fascinated with the sea, all things maritime. He loved the sea, he loved ships. Then for some odd reason, this line, for me, starts to look like the waves of the sea. And I think the wonderful thing about this piece is that Rimsky-Korsakov gives suggestions to us as to what we feel, or how we sort of use our imagination. But actually, he wants us as performers to use our own imagination to try and come up with something ourselves. And I think with this energy and enthusiasm and imagination that I know you're going to bring to the project, I think you can easily fall in love with this piece. You can fall in love with the colours an orchestra can make, and also you can fall in love with just the orchestra in general and what an orchestra can describe. So if I can say two things perhaps that you could do if indeed you're successful in your application, is of course you could get a score and just start to follow even if you don't have much score reading sort of knowledge, just follow the general shapes in the score and ask yourself, why is something written? Why am I being told to play this? I wonder what part of the story that responds to. And also, of course, you can reread or read for the first time the 1001 Arabian Nights.